The containment field flickered with an angry red glow as Bella pressed her palms against the energy barrier, her eyes scanning the alien landscape beyond. Deathworld Zeta 7, they called it, a planet where everything, from the carnivorous flora to the acid rain, existed solely to end life. She'd been trapped here for 6 rotations, ever since her research vessel crashed during what should have been a routine atmospheric study. "Stupid, stupid, stupid," she muttered, watching the triple suns set over jagged obsidian peaks. Her emergency beacon had been broadcasting for days, but she knew the odds. Nobody came to Deathworlds. Nobody sane anyway. That's when she saw him. A figure emerged from the crimson mist, moving with a casual confidence that seemed absurd given the circumstances. He was human, or at least humanoid, wearing what looked like standard explorer's gear that had seen better days. His dark hair was disheveled, and he carried a plasma rifle slung over one shoulder like it weighed nothing. Leo had been tracking the distress signal for 2 days, ignoring the warnings from his ship's AI about atmospheric toxicity, predator density, and a dozen other lethal factors. He'd made a career out of ignoring warnings. When he spotted the shimmering containment field, he grinned. Still operational. That was lucky. As he approached, he could make out a woman inside, dark hair pulled back, wearing a researcher's jumpsuit, looking thoroughly annoyed rather than relieved. "Hey," he called out, waving. "Hang tight, I'll get you out." Bella's eyes widened. "Don't touch the field perimeter. The ground within 3 meters is seeded with." The explosion cut her off. Leo had stepped directly onto a buried mine. The blast should have vaporized him. Instead, when the smoke cleared, he was still standing, brushing dirt off his jacket with a sheepish expression. "Spore mines," he finished. "Yeah, I see 'em now." Bella stared, her mouth hanging open. "You're an idiot," she said flatly. "You should be dead. You should be a fine mist right now." Leo laughed, the sound incongruous in the hostile environment. "Yeah, I get that a lot." He began carefully navigating around the remaining mines, pulling a small device from his belt. Leo, by the way, Leo Castellan, professional idiot and amateur rescue specialist. "Bella Reeves, xenobotanist," she replied, watching him work. "And if you're going to die doing something monumentally stupid, at least tell me you have a ship nearby." "Define nearby," Leo said, connecting his device to the containment field's power node. "But yes, the Valkyrie's about 2 clicks north. She's not pretty, but she flies." The field began to shimmer and destabilize. Within moments, it collapsed entirely. Bella stepped out cautiously, immediately pulling out a scanner to check the air quality and threat levels. Everything read as extremely lethal, which was about what she'd expected. "We need to move," she said. "There's a razorwing nest about half a kilometer west and they hunt at dusk." Razorwings. Leo's eyes lit up with something that looked disturbingly like excitement. "The 3-meter wingspan ones with the titanium beaks." "You've encountered them before." "Encountered, fought, barely survived, the usual." He gestured toward the north. "Come on, let's get you somewhere that isn't actively trying to kill you." They moved quickly through the alien terrain, with Bella constantly checking her scanner and Leo seemingly relying on pure instinct. She noticed he had an unusual awareness of his surroundings, anticipating threats before her equipment could even register them. "How are you doing that?" she asked after he'd pulled her away from what looked like solid ground, but was actually a camouflaged sinkhole filled with digestive enzymes. "Doing what?" "Surviving. You shouldn't be alive. Nobody survives Deathworlds without power armor or significant combat augmentation. You're just walking around like this is a park." Leo shrugged. "I'm hard to kill, trust me, a lot of things have tried." Before Bella could press further, a screech split the air. 3 razorwings descended from the darkening sky, their metallic beaks gleaming. Each creature was a nightmare of evolution, all talons, teeth, and killing efficiency. Leo unslung his rifle in one smooth motion. "Get behind me." Behind you, we need to find cover, there's no way. He fired 3 times. 3 razor wings fell, each shot placed with impossible precision through their only vulnerable spot, the nerve cluster behind their left eye. The entire encounter lasted maybe 4 seconds. Bella stared at the corpses, then at Leo, then back at the corpses. What are you? What do you mean? No human has reflexes that fast. No unaugmented human could make those shots. I've studied Deathworld fauna my entire career, and I've never heard of anyone taking down razorwings like they were training targets. Leo's expression shifted, becoming more serious. Let's get to the ship first, then we can talk about my resume. The Valkyrie was exactly what Bella expected from someone like Leo. A beat-up freighter that looked like it had been through several wars and maybe one apocalypse. But it was functional, and more importantly, it was off this nightmare planet. Inside, Leo headed straight for the cockpit while Bella collapsed into a passenger seat. Her hands were shaking, aftermath of adrenaline and the realization that she'd actually survived. 6 days alone on Zeta-7, and she'd made it out. You didn't answer my question, she said once they'd achieved orbit. The planet rotated below them, beautiful and deadly in equal measure. Leo set the autopilot and turned to face her. What I am is complicated. Try me, I'm a scientist. Complicated is my specialty. He leaned back against the console, considering his words carefully. Have you ever heard of the Deathworld protocols? The military program, they shut that down decades ago. Something about ethical violations and, oh, her eyes widened. You're one of them, the enhanced soldiers they designed to fight on hostile worlds. Was one of them, Leo corrected. They don't exist anymore, officially. The program was disbanded, all subjects were supposed to be decommissioned, but I had other ideas about that. Bella's mind raced through the implications. The Deathworld protocols had been legendary, an attempt to create warriors who could survive and fight on planets where conventional forces couldn't even land. Enhanced reflexes, redundant organs, accelerated healing, increased strength and endurance. They'd been designed to be the ultimate survivors. The rumor said you were all killed, that the enhancements made you unstable. Some were, Leo admitted. The process wasn't perfect, but those of us who survived the initial treatments, we're stable, just, different, enhanced in ways that make normal life kind of boring. So you rescue people from Deathworlds for fun. He grinned. Something like that. I figure if I'm going to be impossible to kill, might as well use it for something useful. Most rescue teams won't come to places like Zeta-7. Too dangerous. But for me, he gestured at the planet below, it's a Tuesday. Bella processed this information, her scientific mind already cataloging questions. The mines. You survived a direct blast. Redundant skeletal reinforcement and enhanced tissue regeneration. I felt it. Don't get me wrong, it hurt like hell, but my body handled it. The razor wings. Neural acceleration and enhanced visual processing. I see faster than baseline humans, react faster. What looks like impossible precision to you is just normal for me. She stood up, crossing the small cockpit to look at him more closely. This is incredible. Do you have any idea what the medical community could learn from studying your enhancements? The applications for trauma medicine alone. Whoa, hold on, Leo raised his hands defensively. I'm not a lab rat. Been there, done that, have the scars to prove it, both literal and metaphorical. Bella caught herself, realizing she'd slipped into researcher mode. Sorry, force of habit, but Leo, you represent something unprecedented. You did what no warrior ever could. You survived the protocols, escaped termination, and you're using your abilities to help people. That's remarkable. He looked uncomfortable with the praise. I'm just trying to make up for lost time. The program took years from me, made me into a weapon when I should have been living a normal life. This, helping people, exploring Deathworlds, it's my choice. Nobody orders me around anymore. And you're good at it, Bella said softly. You saved my life. I may have called you an idiot, but you're an incredibly effective idiot. Leo laughed, the tension breaking. I'll take that as a compliment. They settled into a comfortable silence as the Valkyrie's engines hummed, carrying them toward the nearest civilized system. Bella found herself studying Leo when she thought he wasn't looking, her mind full of questions both scientific and personal. So what were you doing on Zeta 7 anyway? Leo asked eventually. That's not exactly a tourist destination. Research, Bella replied. I'm studying how plants evolve on death worlds, the adaptation mechanisms, the chemical weapons they develop. There's a particular species of vine on Zeta 7 that produces a neurotoxin unlike anything we've cataloged. I was collecting samples when the ship malfunctioned. Samples? You managed to get samples before crashing. Her eyes lit up. Yes, I managed to save most of my collection. It's in the containment field storage unit, if you could retrieve it. Already in the cargo hold, Leo interrupted. I grabbed it when I deactivated the field. Figured it was important if you brought it instead of, say, extra rations or weapons. Bella stared at him. You saved my research. You're a scientist on a research mission. Of course your samples are important. Would have been a shame to leave them after you survived 6 days in hell to protect them. Something shifted in that moment. Bella had called him an idiot, dismissed him as a reckless fool, but he'd seen what mattered to her and acted on it without being asked. There was more to Leo Castellan than enhanced reflexes and a death wish. Thank you, she said quietly. Really, thank you. Leo smiled, and for the first time Bella noticed it reached his eyes, kind eyes, she realized, despite everything he'd been through. You're welcome. Now how about you tell me about these neurotoxin vines? I've got a 12-hour flight ahead of us and I'm curious. As Bella launched into an explanation of xenobotanical adaptation strategies, Leo listened with genuine interest. He asked questions that showed real understanding, challenged her theories in ways that made her think. Somewhere over the 4th hour of conversation, as they discussed the ethics of death world research and the unexpected beauty of hostile environments, Bella realized something. She'd been rescued by what the galaxy had designed to be its ultimate warrior, only to discover he was perhaps the most human person she'd ever met. Leo, she said, interrupting her own explanation of photosynthetic adaptation in low-light environments. Yeah. I'm sorry I called you an idiot. He grinned. Don't be. I am an idiot, but I'm an idiot who's very good at not dying, and occasionally at pulling xenobotanists out of trouble. Occasionally. Well, you're my first xenobotanist, but I'm open to making it a regular thing if you keep getting yourself stranded on death worlds. Bella laughed despite herself. I'll try to avoid that, but if you're ever near a dangerous planet that needs studying, and you need someone who can identify which plants will kill you versus which will only maim you, I'll know who to call, Leo finished. The Valkyrie flew on through the void, carrying 2 unlikely companions toward civilization. Behind them, Deathworld Zeta 7 continued its eternal dance of survival and death. But for one xenobotanist and one enhanced warrior, the planet had become something else. The place where they learned that sometimes the most human thing you can do is reach out to save a stranger, even when the universe itself says it's impossible.